Aquarius and sacred sovereignty. Hey everybody, it's your girl Griselda. Happy Saturday. How y'all doing? I feel like there's a lot of misconceptions around the Aquarian vibe, and it just feels like there's more martyring expected of everyone, and that we have to give it all up for collectivism. But the individual matters still, and especially now. So moving into the Aquarian age, as we've been listening to everybody talk about now for a while, everybody in the spiritual community and so on, is the time to love your brother, love your sister, like bring back the sort of 60s feeling again. And that's all well and good, but if we don't understand who we are as individuals, that we don't do sort of like a shadow work experience, then we're going to just pass on the same. Learning to take responsibility for ourselves, even in spite of our trauma and the things that have happened to us that are very and unfair, either in our families, by a family member, friends, a partner, society, our jobs, and so on. No matter what has happened, ultimately, we are responsible for ourselves. The only path toward true salvation, in my opinion, for all of humanity, is if we start with ourselves and we understand that we are all individuals in a larger context, and to learn who we are in terms of digging in the dirt, finding the places where we got hurt, as Peter Gabriel sings, is the number one thing we have to do in order to change the world. So then sacred sovereignty is not narcissism when we are actually people who are cultivating a sincere self-reflection, and we're on the path of a sincere self-knowledge, so that when we truly get to know ourselves as much as we can, and this is a life's work. You don't just land somewhere when you're 40 or 45 or 50 and so on, but it's a constant work that we all have to do. Because when you are on a path of sincere self-knowledge, what happens is that you start to see yourself in other people, even in those who might have been deemed your enemies. Suddenly life becomes a circle. Reality is a circle, and it's not a line, and it's not a hierarchy. And in that way, you start to take responsibility for yourself. Suddenly, the desire to understand just takes over the desire to be right. And now, when all of this work is being done, you start to understand now the Aquarian age, and that, I know myself, therefore I know my place in the collective. Therefore, I know my responsibility to the collective. This is a very win-win situation. What we are seeing now with this narcissistic epidemic is a backlash. It is an effect to the cause of telling people they cannot be who they are so long ago. So now we are in a sort of hyper-compensatory mode. And that's what narcissism really is. It's compensating. This is a time to be very, very visionary, creative, weird, and strange, trying all kinds of things on to see if they fit. And also a time of joy. So this shadow work does not have to be so profoundly awful. It can actually be really fun if you frame it that way. Doing all this is part of taking responsibility for yourself. It is not selfish to do that. In fact, I think it's selfish not to. And when we martyr ourselves for the collective, that's a form of vulnerable narcissism. And that is a profaned collective. That is a result of a profaned idea of sovereignty. Sacred sovereignty is just, quite honestly, it's our birthright. When you are on the path of a sincere self-reflection, on the road of self-knowledge, it's not selfishness or being self-absorbed. If you are examining yourself so that you can be responsible for yourself in the world, so that we don't put our shit on everybody else. So happy Aquarius new moon, everybody. Do something weird and have a great time.